At Northwind Roofing and Exteriors, our dedicated team brings precision and expertise to every project, ensuring your home not only looks its best, but is also well guarded against the elements. It's Inside Saluki Athletics. We're previewing the MVC tournament for Saluki women's basketball, starting with the head coach, Kelly Bond White. Coach, we saw a little bit of the team kind of regrouping with that win over Evansville, but just kind of broadly, what are the biggest reasons in your mind that you believe this team can put together a little bit of a run here?
Well, we saw it in that first half last night where when our offensive flow is there and those kids are just running the floor, playing freely, moving the ball, sharing the ball, um, we're a different ball club. And I think it moves quicker. There's a lot less thinking involved, but the real part of it is when we put our mind to play defensively. And when you have, I think we had three charges in the game last night. We had some big box outs. Um, and that's what it's going to take to put together a stretch. And I think, the people in this league understand that. I think this is a year for pretty much everybody where everybody has been a threat, at some point. And so when you close the book on one season and open a new one, I think our kids are getting massages right now and doing some recovery work and mobility stuff. But I think they feel it. I think they feel the close of one season and are excited about a new season. So that's what gives us hope that the things that we can sharpen and the things that we need to clean up to just have, I keep saying it, possession discipline. And when we play with that, we're a pretty special group.
The matchup is Indiana State as the 9 seed, we're the 8 seed. Uh, Two games there that, I mean, honestly, I was looking at the game log and it sounds very simple, but almost came down to field goal percentage. Shot over
Yeah.
50% in that first matchup and then got held to closer to 30 in the second one. Biggest
Yeah.
differences between those two games, in your opinion?
Well, again, flow is big. Points in the paint were very similar in that game. The shots that we got were very similar. But when you go through the first 6 minutes of the ball game, four layups that were taken away. Very first possession of the game, two transitions, and then another breakaway layup. That were missed. That changes things. That changes field goal percentages. That's the difference in 80 points on the board, versus. So when you just look at little things that we can figure out in that, and then you have those quarters. We had a couple quarters. Um, where we were scoring the ball pretty easily. And then we have those turnovers, and you just can't get past that. We didn't have a ton in either game. I think we had more at our place than
Yep.
we did, at there, but it was just the critical times of some of those turnovers and not moving the ball, as much.
In terms of matchups, Clemisha Prackett, forward off the bench for them, had a big game in both matchups. What makes her difficult and how do you slow her down?
She moves well without the ball. She gets a lot of offensive boards. We got to do a better job of being intentional of putting a body on her and pushing back. And, we're good at going to get it too. But when you have somebody that might be a little bit more athletic, you got to be intentional of putting the body on her. She did a good job of going over her right shoulder. She wants her left shoulder most times, but she got some right shoulder looks as well and split some double teams on us. So we got to understand angles that we're bringing to her and just try to get her to kick that ball out of there. But one, not let her get as deep and comfortable.
Talking about our side of it, you look at what India Green's been able to do to finish the season, back-to-back double doubles, but you look at her career as a whole. How important is it to have a player that has played in the MVC tournament, not only done that, but also won in the MVC tournament?
Yeah, I think it's huge. I think it's huge. That's why we pursued her so hard from the start. She's put up the best numbers in her career here. And she's just been consistent. And teams, their scouting reports, most scouting reports, we got some players, but most scouting reports start on that interior and then move out to the perimeter. But her having it, she's just one of those kids that, she's going to take charge of the locker room. She's going to try to get our kids back focused. She's going to try to get them riled up when they're not doing it. But one of the things that I love about Indy and an older player that has the experience, she has that give me the doggone ball. Give me the ball. And you don't have many kids that have that attitude with it. I love it as a coach because she's like, hey, yeah, lots going on there. Give me the ball. And you gotta have that. You gotta have the person that wants it at those times. So that's what she brings. This is her last hurrah. I double checked. I'm usually good at waivers and everything else. I was trying to figure out how to get her one more year. But this is it for her. And you just gotta have that person with the chip on that shoulder, that person with a little grit to them that says, no, this is how we're going to play, and we're not rolling over.
These days, sometimes you got triple check with that. You never know where you can find a year of eligibility nowadays.
Heck, apparently goes back. We might, let's see.
The other super senior, so to speak, on the team, Janiah Thompson,
Yeah,
might be the X factor. When she plays well, the team has a different dynamic. How
yeah,
important was it for her to have a good game to finish the season at Evansville, 7 points, 11 rebounds? And then the game before that, those 17 points. How important
yeah.
was that for JT?
It's huge. It's huge when you watch our struggles and you go through the stats of some of those games where we struggles. You don't want to put pressure on the kid, but it's a credit to the kid that when she is playing well, we play well. And she played really well in our first Indiana State game, got to the free throw line and made some things happen. And the flow of our offense goes through her sometimes when she's making really good decisions and she's just playing without having, to think for Janiyah to do that, that's when we strip down the playbook, a little bit. And, you just keep it simple. And that was my points to her yesterday was, hey, short closeout, shoot it, strong closeout, attack it. See numbers in the paint, throw it. Like just keep it simple and just play. And that's what she brings to this team. She's been our leader from the very tip. She's interning with our staff for her internship for her master's. And I think the kid will end up in coaching just because I think it comes natural to her. She'll probably say operations. I think she likes the administrative side a little bit more than the anxiety written part of the coaching world. But I just think she's a kid that is our voice, brings us some presence, and we're awfully good with her when she's playing well.
The all conference awards are not out at the time that we're recording this, but I would be surprised if Elena Krause is not included in some kind of, all conference first team, second team, or third team.
Yeah.
The scoring dynamic that she brings to this team, I feel like is kind of built for the postseason. She's a player that's built for the postseason. She's got deep state experience. Um, can you kind of sum up the impact that Elena Krause can have in tournament basketball?
She can have a huge impact, and it's not just we need her scoring. So we know she's going to draw a lot of attention, and that's what opens it up for players, other players on our team. And so that's what I just try to tell her. Even if that ball isn't going down, which knock on some wood, it will. Her ability to move without the ball and understand that her cuts are going to lead to the next person's shot. And then when they have to adjust to that, that's when she can get busy. And that's what you saw down the stretch the other day. Was we start simplifying things really quick and just going to the ball screen action where they got to make a decision. I'm going to step up and guard Elena, or I'm going to leave Indy open. If I don't leave Indy open, now I got this skip pass to the corner over there with Kayla, ready to shoot it. So our kids are learning that when they play off of each other, especially a kid like Elena, she's pretty special. And I'm hoping, and I hope people hear me. I hope Southern Illinois understands just how special she is because she checks every box in what you say you want a Saluki to be. That's who Elena Krause is, and I hope we invest in her and keep her in Southern Illinois.
I mean, the impact that she's had this year, hard to sum up in words or just a few sentences. That is for sure.
For sure.
Uh,
And it's not just this year. We got people sitting in our stands, recruits sitting in our stands directly tied to Elena Krause. So again, I hope we understand her value and what she's meant to the program, and make an investment to keep her here.
Another player you bring up is Kayla Cooper, finishing the regular season really well. She's had, looking at the box scores here, against Indiana State. Two pretty good games against the
Yeah.
Sycamores. What is it about the matchup against Indiana State for Kayla? And when things are going right for Kayla, what's the difference?
Well, let's just start with, forget Indiana State for a minute. Let's just talk about even through this stretch that we've went through. Kayla has been so high energy. She has been a difference maker. She has played freely. But her energy, especially last night, her energy throughout the course of the day and how she started that game. We got a nickname for it. We'll keep that between us for right now. I'll tell you off camera. But just when she's moving at that pace, there came at halftime where I had to slow her down a little bit in the third quarter because she got so sped up. But her energy is contagious. And when we're moving like that in transition and TT's looking for and she's passing ahead and Kayla's a kid that plays off of flow. So when we run some stuff for her where she can get into her 1-2 and elevate and get that shot off, she's also probably my best interior feeder, off the bounce, giving indie looks in there. And the one thing I want to give the kid credit for is we got on her hard at the end of last year, and she has turned into a much better. Coach Brown won't let me say good or great yet, but she is a much better defender because she's intentional about it. And so just her energy, just another kid that has tremendously grown over a season. Went through a rough stretch at the beginning of the year. The difference in it is she knows her worth isn't just that ball going through the net, but just another kid, Elena's twin on that wing. They complement each other, and these are kids that you build programs around. They're legacy kids that if you show them the love and show them that they mean something to this program, another young lady that needs to be invested in to keep her in Southern Illinois.
Well, Coach, it's hard to believe that it's here. Coming up on Thursday, 3:30 tip-off against Indiana State. It's should be fun.
Appreciate you, man.
Thanks, Coach. This is Inside Saluki Athletics presented by Northwind Roofing and Exteriors. At Northwind Roofing and Exteriors, guarding your home's legacy from peak to foundation is what we do with over 40 years of combined experience. Northwind Roofing and Exteriors will get the job done right. Call today at 618-713-1381. And our tournament preview continues with sixth-year senior Janiyah Thompson. And Janiyah, walk me through your excitement level for the conference tournament, knowing that you didn't get to play in it last year.
Oh yeah, it's pretty surreal, bittersweet. This will be my last conference tournament in college. I'm just happy that I actually get to participate in this one and see how I can finish the year off.
Yeah, no doubt. And I think when some players get to their senior year, they have that further sense of appreciation.
Yeah.
When did it kind of hit you like, oh, this is going to be it?
Really like the beginning of this year in January. You know, uh, at that time things start moving quicker. Games are more games in a week. It's just time was flying, and now we're already at the tournament, and it doesn't even feel like it's been that long.
Yeah, no doubt. Now, looking at the matchup, Indiana State, the season series that you guys split, and really two very different offensive games. One of them super high percentage shooting, the loss at Indiana State closer to 30%.
Mhm.
We talked with Coach about it, but from a player's perspective, what were some of the biggest differences between the win and the loss?
I think mainly just like communication, probably a little overconfidence, just based off how the first game went, just gotta lock in more and not take any opponent for granted.
Yeah, no doubt. Now, with Indiana State, their bench scoring is incredible. They've got a lot of depth.
Yeah.
Um, does that make it more difficult knowing that they can cycle probably eight, nine deep and pretty much all of them can score?
I mean, as far as transition goes, yeah, you got to think about that. They score a lot in transitions. Most of their points come from that and just pushing the ball. So making sure that we're just locked in and we're doing what we need to do and paying attention to the little details so we're not overexerting any energy and we can compete at our highest level.
Looking at the last game of the regular season, uh, got a little interesting there at the end after leading
Yeah.
big for most of the first half and the third quarter. But outside of the, offensive step back in the second half, how much confidence does it give you and the rest of the team to be able to pull out a close one with a little adversity?
I think it instills a lot of confidence in us, especially going into the tournament, coming off of a win. The energy's just better. As far as like practices and just being around each other, like everything's just more in a up spirit. You're going into it more excited and just more prepared to compete.
Now, we were talking before we came on here. You've got an internship, and it's with
Yeah.
the coaching staff. That's got
Yeah.
to be a unique setup. How did that kind of come to be?
Well, Harrison actually, that's who I'm under. He actually graduated with the same degree that I have, so it kind of worked out. But it's been pretty good. Just seeing things from like a coach's perspective, the way they prepare and compared to how we prepare as players, like it's different, but it's really eye opening.
Man, you got to work with Harry every day. That's a tough draw. That's a really
Yeah.
tough draw. What are some of the biggest things that you've learned from that experience? Obviously, I know we talked earlier in the season where obviously you didn't play a whole lot last year, so you kind of got that coach perspective there. But this year, how have you kind of taken that a step further?
Just really like the details. Like there's a lot of little details that go into being a coach and things that you have to make sure are all in order and making sure things that run smooth. But really my biggest thing is just I've learned like you have to pay attention to the details. Each detail matters. It leads to a bigger consequence or a better result either way. So just really paying attention to what you're doing and things like that.
Well, on that note, talking about the little things, if the Salukis are going to make a run here in the conference tournament, what are a few of those little things that need to click?
Um I would say just communication, especially with the transition, making sure that we're getting back in second match because our half court defense is pretty solid, but sometimes we can let loose a little bit in transition and not get set, and that leads to allowing other teams to go on runs, and that's just something we have to shut down.
Last thing for you, as one of the leaders on this team, obviously, I think a lot of players look up to you from a development standpoint. If you had to pick one, there have been a lot of players that have gotten better on this team this season, but who's improved the most in your eyes?
Mm, um, From last year to this year, I would really say Agatha, she's found a lot of confidence in herself, especially in practice. She's a problem the way she slashes in that paint and she can just get downhill. She might be small, but she's definitely mighty. But you can really see the development in her and just her confidence is showing a lot more this year.
Love that. Love that. Big contributor to this team, even though she doesn't get a ton of minutes in game, but in
Yeah,
practice, I mean, it's super
she
important.
definitely prepares us for what we're going against. So that's definitely helpful.
Love that. Well, Janai, appreciate the time and best of luck in the conference tournament. We'll see you on Thursday.
Thank you.
This is Inside Saluki Athletics, presented by Northwind Roofing and Exteriors. Last but certainly not least, here on our MVC tournament preview is India Green, SIU's player with maybe the most MVC tournament experience, fifth-year senior. And Indy, want to start with the last time you were at the MVC tournament. It was sorry to bring it up, but the ending for your Missouri State Bears was tough. That buzzer beater against Drake in 2024. But I want to talk about your individual tournament as a whole there. Uh, Obviously, all tournament team. What clicked for you that week?
Uh, it just got a really good vibe. My teammates, we were gelling, we were flowing. We were just knocking the games down easy. I think we just really wanted the win. I don't think we beat Drake the whole 2 years I was there. And that tournament, we really wanted it really bad. And that was it's a really hard loss. It's a really tough loss to have right there.
Yeah, you almost had him,
Mm.
if not for the very last second.
Yes.
I know it's a different situation, like really a totally different situation between that team with Missouri State and now our team with SIU, but how motivated does that ending to that tournament make you for this one?
It makes me really motivated, especially with this team, because I feel like we were picked last pretty much, and we're underdogs, and we played a lot of these top teams really close down to the wire. And I have faith in my team that I know that if we go in and we play our best ball, that we can make a really good run.
100%. Now, for fans, I think it's easy to say, okay, tournament basketball, maybe the number one difference is you lose and the season's over. But take me inside some of the biggest differences between regular season basketball and tournament basketball.
Regular season, I feel like the main difference is you really don't have to play your best basketball in conference. Like you really could, not do the best in conference and then go to the tournament and just have a crazy run and win the whole thing. So it's really just down to making sure that you're playing your best basketball, you're well prepared at the beginning of March, so you have a good foot stepping into the tournament.
It's an Indiana State matchup where one game went pretty well, the other game not so much, especially offensively. Take me through the matchup from your perspective.
Yeah, they're a very scrappy team, very competitive team. They'll get up and down the floor and they'll run. So we just have to be prepared for that to get up and run with them. And I think we all were pretty excited when we found out we were playing Indiana State because the last time we played them, felt like we could have did a little bit better. Didn't play our best ball, and I think we're prepared now. We're ready to go, and everyone has the same mindset, the same. We're all flowing in the same direction, and we're just ready to just go out and just try to win some games.
One player that stood out for Indiana State in both matchups is Prackett, and I'm sure that's a player that you'll see a lot of defensively.
Yeah.
What makes her kind of a load on the inside?
She's just so tall and she's long, and so it's kind of hard to stop her from getting the shot off that she wants because she was making a lot of buckets the last game. That's like we're right there with her. It's just like she's just really skilled in the down low area. So just really making sure just doing the work early on her and pushing her outside the lane and making her work for her baskets.
One question that I asked Janaya as a leader on the team, you probably noticed it a little bit more than some of the younger players, but who would you say of your teammates has kind of developed the most as the season has gone on?
Mm, I would say. Probably, I would say Kennedy Davis has developed a lot because she's already a dog when she got here, but her kind of stepping into more of a leadership role of being a point guard, and she just became a lot more vocal as the months have passed on and the games have passed on, and she's really been, honestly, recently our biggest, like the head of the snake, really. Like she's been leading us, she's been leading the charge, getting us motivated at practice, getting us motivated at games. Like she's really the reason why we've been whipped into shape recently.
One thing I talk with Coach a lot about is talking about motivation. It always seems like she brings you up with talking motivation. What are some of the biggest things that you go to when you're trying to get the team fired up
Some of the
that you
biggest,
can use in an
yeah.
interview?
Um, I would just say I use my voice. I really just use my voice. I kind of let things, I try, kind of let's see if we're gonna work it out ourselves at first before I kind of say something. But then after a while, I kind of got to kick us into gear a little bit, use a little bit of different methods I can't really say on here. But my team's always receptive of it, and like they always bounce back, regardless of like what my actions are. So.
100%. And you'd hope going into this week, you don't need to use too much of that, right?
Right. Right.
Looking at how the regular season ended, I know we talked about it post game at Evansville on Sunday, but I mean, just how important was it to go out on a high note and also, this is going to sound maybe a little bit weird, but have to scrap one out,
Mhm.
even though you all were leading by 20 points for most of that first half and into the second half. Like you said, sometimes the conference tournament it's not pretty. You just got to gut them out. How important was it to gut out a win?
That was very important, especially seeing them the first time. They got one over on us, and we were all prepared to see him again. And we knew that, like with Runner, we had to really shut her down. She was really the biggest engine for them on that team. And we started off really hot in the first half of the game, and then we knew Evansville's a team that you can't sleep on, and we kind of got a little bit complacent in the third quarter. So we kind of, like you said, had to scrap it out towards the end. But I think that really just motivated us going in the tournament. Like it was a fun game to play. Everyone was having fun. Like we were flowing. We saw a lot of things that we just need to fine tune this week going into Thursday. And I think it just really pushed us to go in there and like whoever we have our matchup with, just to go and play hard and just have fun.
Looking at the game on Thursday, 3:30 tip, biggest thing in your mind that you'll be thinking about in terms of, hey, if we do this, then we've got that matchup against number one Murray State on Friday.
Yeah, the biggest thing in my mind is really just like we played Murray State down to the wire every single time. So it's hard to beat a team three times. So I have a lot of faith in my team. I think we all really want that win. We're all really motivated to get that win, and we're going to do whatever we can to make sure that we secure it.
Looking forward to watching it. Indy, really appreciate the time.
Thank you.
You're watching Inside Saluki Athletics presented by Northwind Roofing and Exteriors.